If you're watching this video, there's a really high chance that you like doing art. I am an animator, I'm an artist, I get paid for my art, and sometimes it's really hard to just see your progress. For that reason, I chose to do 1 hour studies every single day for the past 6 weeks by grabbing one frame of a film I watched and then trying to replicate it to the best of my abilities. This was the first of 42 different drawings I did, and once I finished, I asked 6 of my artist friends to rank them from the best to the worst. I didn't put my ranking into the official one because I noticed that I was biased. I was not a fair ranker on this whole thing, but I do present both my friends' ranking and my ranking to compare them and see how much difference there is. So in this video, I'm gonna analyze every single one of the 42 drawings, see what I liked, see what I don't like, and share my thoughts about my own stuff with you and with me. The way I did this whole studies thing is I divided each week by a theme, and week 1's theme was nature films. This movie right here is The Croods, and I have to say I think I set the bar a little too high for myself on day 1, because my friends ranked this at number 4 of the whole 42 studies. It was the 4th best according to them, and I ranked it 10th. I still ranked it pretty high because, yeah, I think it's pretty good. I put a lot of effort into trying to do 2 things, like have a very clear focal point, which is the 4 guys that are there on the light part of the whole thing, and I also tried to create a good sensation of depth. I think it has a good balance and contrast of colors. The one thing I don't like about this one is on the right, the colors are too dirty in my opinion. They're just colors that don't work really well, which is not that important since that's not where I want your eye to go, but eventually if you start just looking around, you're gonna notice it. I also have to clarify, I didn't use the eyedropper tool for any of this. This is 100% me eyeballing every single one of the colors you're gonna see. This one right here, by the way, is the original frame. I don't have the screenshots, apparently I saved them in a folder that I then deleted. But yeah, from week 2 onwards, I do believe I have the screenshots. I'm gonna show you the original ones as well. Moving over to day number 2, this one's from The Revenant. The guy on the left is supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio. Same problem as before, I think the colors are way too dirty. I would have liked to have chosen some better colors, more vibrant colors as well. But overall, I think it works fairly decently, especially the contrast between what's on the foreground and what's farther behind. This one was ranked 9th overall by my friends, and by me it was ranked 37. See, there's where the bias comes. Like, I wanted to rate the oldest ones lower, so yeah, that's why I didn't include myself on the official ranking, let's say. Once again, for day 2, this was the original reference. I think you can see some of the resemblance, but yeah, it's not amazing at all. Moving on to day number 3, this one's from Open Season. From this one, I really like how I managed to make the profile of the guy. Profiles is one of the things I struggled with the most while I was in university studying animation. But this one I really liked, and it's very simplified, very like simple shapes. I think for this one I could have done a better job with the water, first of all. Like, I like some of the shapes, not all of the thing. And also with the sense of depth, I think this one's a very flat image. That being said, my friends ranked this at number 16, and again I ranked it 40. Which is a huge difference. Once again, this one right here was the original reference. You can see it does a better job at pretty much everything I just mentioned. And if you want to see the time lapses of any single one of this, you can look them at the shorts of my channel or on my TikTok. Erman Studios absolutely everywhere. Moving on to day number 4, this one's a documentary called My Octopus Teacher. I overall really liked how this one turned out. But you can really tell I put a ton of effort into the octopus, and then I just didn't have much time to do everything else. Then I moved over to the hand. I think I nailed the tones of the hand pretty well, I hope. Especially to create the sort of sensation that it's a hand that's underwater. I think I did a great job with colors there. And yeah, overall, everything else, it just like, it's blobs of color because I was running out of time and I just wanted for it to not be empty, you know? So yeah, time management is something I do different in this one. And also I could have made a better integration with the tentacles and the hand. Once again, this one's the original reference, and as you can see, there's just a lot of detail that I didn't include because I ran out of time. My friends ranked this one at number 11 overall. Again, we're seeing very high ratings for the first ones I did, and I ranked this at number 14. Moving over to day number 5, the film was Noshka of the Valley of the Wind by Studio Ghibli. This one was a game changer for me. If we go back to the previous ones, you will notice I wasn't using line on any one of those. But this one being an animated film, I just had to use the lines. And I realized I really like this type of shading that they use on the big bug. So from this day onwards, I started using line on every single one of the rest of my studies. Because I think it goes more with my style of drawing and of making things. And it also simplified things a lot with shading. Like, you didn't have to use color and color differences to create the illusion of a shape. The drawing just helped a lot with that. For this one thing I would have liked, again, to do better is create more of a sense of depth. To me, this looks very flat. And even then, my friends ranked this at number 5, which, like, already there are 3 top 10s in the first week. And the final one of the week also is on the top 10. So yeah, I ranked this one 8, my friends ranked it 5. I can see why. But if we go to the original, I think you can really tell that this one does better at creating the sensation of depth between the character and the bug that's on the background. Moving over to the number 6, the film is Castaway. And once again, the problem to me is that I'm terrible at creating depth. It's a struggle I know I've had for a while, and I was actively trying to get better at it during the studies, but while I was doing the ranking, I was like, oh, I don't think I did that very often. I find it especially hard when it's live action reference, like you have to do a lot of the heavy lifting of creating the sensation of depth, which means exaggerating stuff, and that's just not happening here. Having said that, I really like the amount of stuff I had to draw for this one, and the amount of different colors that I had to do as well. And I think the shading on Tom Hanks, that's supposed to be Tom Hanks by the way, I think it's not that bad. If we look back at the original one, I do think I did it like a bit too happy. I think this one's more washed and it feels more isolated than mine. Mine feels a bit happier for some reason. But again, since I wasn't grabbing the colors directly from the image, I'm pretty happy with what I turned out. My friends put this one at the 12th place, whilst I put it at the 38 apparently. I'm surprised that this one's so low. I really like this one as well. But yeah, again, I knew this one was from week 1, so I was probably subconsciously, or maybe consciously as well, trying to push it down the ranking. Moving over to the final one of this week. I think the colors are the reason this one's ranked pretty high, because this one ended up at the 10th place by my friends and at 15 by me. I think it has a very clear focus point because of contrast both in colors and in values. I like that it has this framing, like I chose this frame for a reason. Let me show you the original. The original one is far superior, far better. One thing I would have liked to be able to do more is add more detail and create more the sensation of detail, especially on the trees far behind. But again, it was time that was ticking down that prevented me from getting to that. And I also think I could have benefited from using a softer brush for the main subject of the whole thing. But yeah, the colors I think I did pretty well. Maybe I would have liked to have more contrast towards the foreground. And that was it for week 1. Now we're moving on to week 2, and the theme was bad sequels. For this one I studied Open Season 2, and as I said, from this one onwards I have the original images I can just pull up. For this one I tried exaggerating things, like I didn't like every single thing from the characters in the whole thing. And once again, same deal as before, I'm lacking the sensation of depth within the band, which is something I'm aware I need to improve on. My friends ranked this at 24 and I ranked it at 32. I'm gonna start concentrating on one specific thing and improving on that one specific thing over the next 3 weeks, not 6. And I'm gonna make videos of every single one of those processes. Moving on to day number 2 of this week, I watched Joker Folie à Deux. And this one, I don't know, I think I bit off more than I could chew on this one. This one was pretty complex. I like the colors overall, but still they feel pretty dirty. And also I ran out of time and I wasn't able to add all of the little details I would have liked, especially with reflections and stuff like that. If you look at the original one, it's just far, far better. Something I should have done better is make more sense of where the sources of lights are, which is very obvious on the original one. Again, like super obvious sources of light. This one my friends ranked at 26 and I ranked at 24, which so far I think is one of the closest ones we've had. Moving over to Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, the most unnecessary sequel ever. It's so necessary that I even tried writing my own version of it. I have the video up there if you want to give it a watch after this one. But again, sensation of depth, that's something I'm missing. I tend to do stuff really flat. And on this one, I remember like I spent way too long trying to nail down Megamind, and I just didn't have much time to do the background. If we look at the original one, it's a bit more clear, the sensation of depth. The colors towards the back are a bit less saturated and are also a bit darker, and that helps separate them from Megamind. This one my friends ranked at 21 and I put at 35. This one's like right at the middle, like they put it at the middle of the whole ranking. For the next day, I watched Speed 2, Cruise Control. This one, drawing this one was, I think you can tell the amount of detail that this one has. I'm really proud of it, first of all. I think I did fairly well with perspective. But yeah, I spent so long just drawing stuff that in the end, I could only do flat colors on the whole thing. If we see the original one, again, there's a ton of shadows I just didn't add because I didn't have the time. But I like how I was able to adapt it into my own thing. This one my friends put at number 34, so ranked way lower than the Megamind one. And I put it at 22, which is funny, like, we basically flipped them. They put Megamind at 21, I put this one at 22, I put Megamind at 35, they put this one at 34. So yeah, this one's are basically flipped. Then I did Atlantis, Milo's Return. This one I'm really proud of, you're gonna see why in just a second. If we move over to the original one, I think it doesn't have that clear of a focal point. The eye is divided between watching the raven and watching the girl. I think her name was Kaya, you might correct me if I'm wrong. When I did mine, I decided I wanted to keep the focal point on the raven, so I changed its colors to make it pop against the background. And on this one, I think I nailed the depth thing. My lines are very wiggly. That's something I'd like to improve. I'm not sure how necessary it's gonna be for me, because I don't plan to do that many backgrounds. But yeah, my lines are very all over the place. But I really like how the tree especially turned out and how the snow is on top of it. This one my friends ranked at 14, which is again pretty high up. And I ranked it at 30, which is on the lower end of the whole thing. The second to last from this week was Highlander 2, The Quickening. And having the previous one just being a bit more experimental, not trying to reproduce the whole thing one by one, I went crazier with that on this one. This is the original frame, as you can tell, like, it's not exactly the same as I did. I wanted to try to push more the eye towards the two guys that are fighting. I think there are a couple of things that are competing on this image. So I wanted to use the idea of the light in the background against the characters to try and do that. And that's what I did here. I basically put the light against them to add more contrast and to lead your eye directly to them. I also started experimenting with some color variations on the things. I think it turned out okay. And yeah, overall, this one, while I was doing it, it was one I enjoyed a lot. And I think my friends agreed because they placed this one at number 13, while I put it at number 18. The final bad sequel I watched that week was The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. I think this one was one of the few films I really liked on that week. And I have to say, this one's one of my favorite compositions. So favorite that on my very biased ranking, I ranked this one at number 1. My friends disagree with me and they put it at number 19. This one I love just what I was able to do with colors. We're gonna see the original one in a second. This one's the original one. I think they did even better with colors. Again, I wasn't using the color picker tool, so trying to match these yellows, oranges, these reds, these purples, these greens that are not actually greens, but they're like a red weird thing. It was hard. This one was the hardest color match of the whole thing. And I think I did a decent job. I think I'm lacking contrast. Contrast is one of the things I want to keep getting better at. Hence, the next week I'm going to be working towards that. But for this one, I like that it feels small. I think I nailed the scale of this scene. If I missed the ranking at some point, please just tell me in the comments. Yeah. Moving over to week number 3, I watched Adam Sandler films. And this one's the first movie he was in, called Going Overboard. This one's not Adam Sandler, this one's a different character. But again, I was trying to represent the whole movie in a single image. And this was a very important scene of the whole thing. Not gonna lie, this one's one of my favorite studies. I put this at number 11, but my friends put it almost at rock bottom. This one's ranked 38 by them. My favorite thing about this one is the color variation I was able to create. With these whole purples and greens, I think I did that pretty well. And again, the amount of detail I was able to pack in, I think is fairly decent for a just 1 hour study. If we see the original one is far more flat, far less interesting. But I think it does have a more clear sense of where the light source is coming from. And that's something I could have done better. Maybe like blow the whole thing a bit on the corner. That could have improved this just a whole bunch. But I'm overall pretty happy with how this one turned out, even though my friends disagree. The next day I moved over to an animated film. I didn't know this movie existed. It's called 8 Crazy Nights. It's about Hanukkah. And with this one, the trickiest part was just trying to match the colors. If we check the original one and we swap back to mine, you can tell I changed the colors a lot. But once again, I was trying to just eyeball it. I just missed which one is the original. Okay, that's the original. This was mine. Yeah. But I think the drawing I know pretty well. Like, I did it apparently too small. Again, I'm not just tracing over stuff. I'm looking at the reference and I'm drawing it. So yeah, I think something I need to improve on as well is just the sense of scale on stuff and placement of things. But I'm overall pretty happy with this one. My friends ranked this one at around the middle. They put this at number 20. I put this one at number 4. Because again, I really like the colors. I like how it's separating the characters from the background. The line quality is awful. I know. That's something I want to get better at. But we're going to get to that eventually. Day number 3 of this week was the Ridiculous 6. This one was a tricky one for me because I spent just way too long drawing the trees that I ran out of time to do everything else in the background. So you can tell I put a ton of effort into nailing the shapes of the trees, and then the background is just blobs of colors and that's it. If you look at the original one, like there's a ton of detail that I wasn't able to include, especially towards the back of it. The one thing I didn't like about the original one were the colors. It just felt too moody for what I pictured in westerns. So I tried making it more cinematic. My friends ranked this at number 17, and I ranked this one at number 26. Moving over to 51st Dates, my friends ranked this one as the 4th worst of all my studies. And by me, it's actually ranked the worst. I think I spent way too long just trying to simplify stuff. You see here the amount of detail that this has. I tried simplifying and adapting it to a different like aspect ratio. I spent way too long time on that and I wasn't able to do much with the colors. So yeah, I just had to do flats on absolutely everything. Again, sense of depth is something I need to be working on, like ASAP. Then we move over to Billy Madison. Almost the same thing happened here. I tried going crazy with the amount of detail I put into the trees and the whole arches, the stones. And I spent way too long with that, and I wasn't able to add much sense of depth, once again, to the whole thing. It looks flat. If we go to the original, like, there's less saturation on some stuff. Stuff is darker and has more similar colors, and in mine it's just everything has almost the same level of importance regarding color. So yeah, that's something I need to keep working on. My friends ranked this as the 2nd worst, and I did as well. Wow, this one we coincided. This was the first that we agreed on. This was my 2nd worst apparently. But yeah, like just adding some shadows and stuff could have really helped with bringing this one a bit higher on the ranking, I think. This next one's a bit of a tricky one. If I'm being honest, this one would be one of my favorites if it weren't for the whole just lines that are on the background. I think they're very distracting. I think I could have done a way better job at just keeping them less prominent in the whole thing. If we look at the original one, there's far more contrast. It's just, I tried pushing it but making it visible. Like, this one was a hard balance between the two things. But again, the details that are on the background are better separated than in mine. I think it's a matter of saturation and how much they mix between each other. My friends ranked this at number 27, which is a little below the middle point. And I ranked it at 17. Like, as I said, I really like this one for what it was. And for the final Adam Sandler film, this one's called You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. I spent way too long just drawing stuff. As you can see, there are like 7 or 8 characters on this whole freaking image. And there's the background, so I lost a ton of time in that, and I wasn't able to put pretty much any effort into the coloring of the things. Some of the stuff is not even colored properly. And something I struggle with a lot that I've realized throughout this whole thing is drawing women. I'm terrible at drawing women. Something I probably should do more if I want to get good at that. I don't know. For that, my friends ranked this at number 33, while I put it number 13. because I know the effort that was behind the whole thing. Again, I'm biased. Mine doesn't count. I'm just saying it because I think it's interesting seeing the difference between the two. For week number 4, I watched Chris Columbus films because this film came out and I was like, oh, this film came out on Thursday. I'm gonna put this video on Monday and it's gonna blow up and everyone's gonna see it. It didn't happen. Again, this one was really tricky to draw in an hour because I had to adapt it, plus there were 3 characters and there was a ton of detail in the background. And if we see the original one, like right now it's a bit cropped, but yeah, it was a wider image, so I had to adapt it somewhat. Looking back at it, it's not that bad, you know? Yeah, there's stuff I changed, stuff I compressed, especially with the background, like seeing it whole. And for the amount of stuff that I had to do, I was pretty happy with it. But again, sense of depth. There's no depth on the whole thing. I think the rim lights that the characters have help. I think making the background not so vibrant would also help. Yeah, that's something I need to keep working on, keep realizing, like, that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to see what I'm doing wrong and what I could improve on. This video is more for me than for anybody else, to be honest. This one my friends ranked at number 18, which is a little above the middle point, and I ranked it at 16. So yeah, again, pretty close between these two. I think it also shows I need to get better at likeness. I think from these 3 actors, the one that's more like the original one is Ben Kingsley. The rest, you can sort of tell it's Pierce Brosnan. You cannot tell it's Helen Mirren. So yeah, likeness is something I want to get better at as well. The second Chris Columbus film I watched was Adventures in Babysitting. And with this one regarding colors, I had to go more of on a mood-based thing. Because again, I ran out of time, it was hard. I'm really happy with the overall drawing, like I didn't use perspective grids for this, and I think I was able to maintain the perspective pretty well overall. And again, even though you don't see them that much, there's a ton of people and I try to keep them proportionate and it's somewhat of an interesting pose inspired by the scene. If you look at the original one, it's just completely different. The amount of color, the amount of stuff going on is just totally different. The perspective is different as well, but yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with how this one turned out. My friends agree with that. They ranked this at number 8. Finally, we come back to one from the top 10, whilst I apparently ranked it at number 33. Again, I think I could have done some better stuff regarding colors, and I think that's why I ranked it so low. Moving over to the film, I Love You, Beth Cooper. I love the film, by the way, pretty cool take. This one's, if you're a nerdy guy, as you can see, this guy is holding a lightsaber and against this really buff dude. It was a really fun film. And this one's one of my favorite studies, not gonna lie, even though I struggled with it a lot. I really like how he was able to separate both characters. I chose to go for a monochromatic background, and I was overall pretty happy with this one. But my friends disagreed by placing this at number 28, while I apparently somehow put this at number 3. Again, I'm biased, this one's one of my favorite ones, and that's why it's ranked so high. This is the original one. If we go back and forth, you can see, like, there's stuff that's changed. I think, again, more contrast in the background could have helped, like, separate both planes of the walls. But I like this sort of comic book-esque aesthetic. And for the next day, I watched Stepmom. And again, a little secret unveiled. If you see one of my studies and there's just like 2 main colors, it's because I was running out of time when I had to color, okay? The amount of detail I had to like draw for this scene was kind of crazy. And if we see the original one, there was even more detail that could have been added. Again, the image is a bit wider, you can't see it right now. But yeah, overall, I liked what I was able to do mood-wise. Like, generally warm colors like orange tend to be represent more family, like being together, being happy. While skull colors like the blue or the cyanish blue in the front tend to go for the opposite. So I tried to go like a very mood-heavy on this one. This one's probably something you'd see in a color script or something. For a film with very stylized color, probably an animated film. And I think my friends like that because they ranked this at number 6, going back again to top 10s. I ranked this one way lower at 23 because again, I knew I just took the easy way out of the whole thing because I was running out of time using color, using mood to just trick you into thinking this was better than it actually was. Moving over to Bicentennial Man. Again, I'm really sorry to every single lady that might be watching this. I'm terrible at drawing women, okay? You can tell the guy is sort of good. You can tell the guy on the left, even this little Chinese looking guy is good. The guy that you can barely see his face is kind of good, but the girl is just awful. I'm terrible at drawing women. I'm sorry. Something I want to improve on. Again, for this one, I went with far more simplified, like lighting and the amount of detail. That's one thing I like about this one, how he was able to represent the whole people. Like, I think you understand that they are people. I liked this one overall, but if we see the original one, like, you can tell I didn't capture her likeness at all. I also moved a bit how the face looked and some stuff. But yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with this one, except for the girl. My friends disagree though. They ranked this at number 30, while I put it at number 25. The next film I watched was 9 Months. For this one, I tried doing something that I read on FrameThink, a really great book about composition. It basically talked about separating the characters, like these are two people that were together and now are not together. And in this scene, the guy is just trying to get the girl back, but right now they're separated. If we go to the original one, I would not have noticed this, but in between them there's a ton of stuff. I don't know whether it's intentional or not, but on this book I mentioned, they use that just as a visual way to separating the characters, like you put something between them and keep them apart. I tried to exaggerate that and exaggerate the lighting and mood by putting like these two different light sources that create a shadow between them. So like there's a more clear separation between the two. I don't know how effective or not it was, because my friends put this one at number 23. Although I put it at 29, so who knows. But from this one, I'm really happy with the amount of stuff I was able to draw. And I think I did the characters pretty well, even though they're not like that similar to the original ones. And again, I was finding a style I was very comfortable with drawing people in, and I don't think it looks bad, to be honest. Moving over to the film Rent, a pretty bad musical in my opinion, but yeah, it was fun. And this one I chose a place more than people to represent the whole film, and the amount of detail that the original image has is just crazy. Like, look, the amount of stuff going on here is just insane. So it was a huge challenge trying to simplify this whole thing. I also realized that I failed my perspective, like my guides are going downwards. Like for the vertical parts, my vanishing point is downwards. On the original one, it's upwards, so it's more like, and it makes more sense. Like, I don't know why I didn't notice that. I was just lost in the amount of detail. And as I said earlier, I wasn't using perspective guides for any of this. So that's why stuff's going down. I should have realized that. That's a new mistake. But for the amount of stuff I had to draw in an hour, I think I did pretty well. Again, I tried exaggerating color a bit to draw your eye more towards the main building. But again, I think I went too vibrant of a color. It doesn't really look like the red orangey type thing that we have here. That being said, my friends put this at number 15. While I put it at number 21. And with that, we move over to week number 5, in which I watched European films. This one's a French film called Fantastic Planet. This one's the original one, and I kind of want to believe that it's a bit of the original one's fault that this one's ranked very low, both by my friends and by me, because I think I did a fairly decent job replicating it. My friends ranked this one at number 37, which is basically bottom 6, and I ranked it at 34. To me, the original one looks a bit flat, but for the amount of detail this has, like, I have absolutely nothing to say. This movie's crazy. The amount of detail every single character has is just stupid. And to be able to do this in an hour, I had to simplify a ton of things. But again, I think the colors of the things in the background should be less vibrant. Like here, they're way duller colors. In my, they pop more to the eye, because that's the sort of colors I like working with. Yeah, I felt with the whole trying to separate the thing once again. I do like the sensation that my fog creates more than this very graphic thing that they did on the film. I like that more, but yeah, overall, it's ranked pretty low for a reason, right? Moving over to day number 2 of that week, we have Momo, an Italian film. Again, this one I just spent way too long drawing stuff. I don't even know what I spent stuff drawing. I think I was trying to nail the character in the front. If we look at the original one, I think you can see that he has a bigger nose, but it's pretty close to the original one. But the little girl I just did way too small. I tried pushing her farther to the background. But again, the background's pretty flat, so that doesn't help. That being said, my friends ranked it as number 35, which is bottom 8, I think. And I ranked it at 20, which would be about the middle. The more things I've drawn are cartoon style, so I think I'm better at replicating those than at replicating people or at turning people into cartoons. So yeah, that's I think why I nailed more the characters on this one. Moving over to Robot Dreams, this one was a bit of a tricky one. This one's one of my favorites. And this one was a huge challenge because the whole scene, as you see here, this one's the original one. There's this overlay of a frosted window over the whole thing. And trying to work with color, having that over it, was really tricky. The only color I was able to get very close is the color of the dog behind the glass. Like if we see it here, the color of the dog is just pretty different. But if you compare both colors from their result, it's pretty much the same color. I was really surprised with that. But once again, I on this one I flattened stuff a bit. It's something I'm trying to get better at, and I'm gonna keep practicing for that. Just keeping proportions between characters more consistent. But this one was a really fun color challenge, and I had a ton of fun doing it. My friends ranked this one at number 22, and I ranked it a bit higher at number 19. This one was one of the trickier ones. Again, I bit off more than I could chew. The amount of characters I had to draw and try to keep consistent in the frame was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Plus the baggage and the other props that are in front. And then I just didn't have time to do much in the background. The background's super flat. I'm aware of that. The characters, I couldn't add much color to them. If we look at the original one, it's crazy. This is a stop motion film. It's a great film. It's called No Dogs or Italians Allowed. But again, I tried to bite off more than I could chew. Again, sense of scale within the frame is pretty different. I need to get better at that. But for the time I had, I think if this were just the line, I'd be happier with it. But I think the colors degrade a ton from it. And that's what made my friends put this at the bottom 3, number 40. And I also put it pretty low. I put it at bottom 4, number 39. But again, I think it's just the color that draws away from this. I was gonna say if I had the original file, but I have the original file, so we're gonna see that. But yeah, if we look at this, just the characters, like there's a ton of stuff going on here. The background is just a bit distracting right now, but I think this one just in line looks way better than with colors. I think colors ruined this one for me. Moving on to day number 5 of that week and 33 overall, this is the film Ronald the Barbarian. It's a pretty weird film. It has like very sexual humor. I don't like it. Hence why the characters dressed up like this. But again, I also wanted to practice drawing women. Did I do well? Did I not? I'm not sure. This one was a bit of a tricky one. I think I could have done better at separating this whole rocks thing from the character in the front. Make it less saturated. But yeah, this one, when I did it, I liked it a lot. But let me see where I put it in the ranking. I put it at 28, so a little below the middle point. Friends ranked it a little higher at number 25. So yeah, this one's a bit of a mid one. Again, I like the drawing a lot, but the shading not that much. I think I could have pushed a bit more the contrast between shades and highlights. Moving over to Lewis and the Aliens, this one I'm really proud of, not gonna lie. Yeah, again, the amount of stuff I had to draw, the amount of perspective I had to do was just a lot. I think the character I nailed the least was the kid. You can see it right here. The kid's smaller. But I think the other 3 guys are on point, and I think I did really well with the shading on them. I'm really proud with this one for 1 hour. But again, I used the cheap trick of just grabbing the whole background, putting it one color, do some color variation. I think I did pretty well with it. But yeah, it was a bit of a lazy move because I had to just spend so much time with drawing stuff and coloring the characters, like the 3 main aliens, that I just ran out of time for the rest. And it worked because my friends ranked this at number 7, while I ranked this at number 12. All of these images I have right now as my desktop backgrounds, and they cycle all the way through. And when this one comes up, it's really fun to look at. The movie is really fun as well. It's called Lewis and the Aliens. Not sure if I said that already. And the final European film is Secret of Chaos. Right now I'm covering some of the props here, but I spent way too long just looking at how they do that. The shapes that Cartoon Saloon has are incredible. I spend most of the time drawing these whole little things that are on the table, and the characters and the background I couldn't put much more attention to. Because if we see the original, it's just crazy. The amount of texture, the amount of stuff that it has, it's insane. Again, I couldn't do much about the line. I couldn't add that many color variations on the props, once again, because I didn't have the time. I'm just using the simple brushes from Photoshop for this whole thing. I'm not using texture brushes or anything. With this one, again, I think I should have done a bit better job separating characters from background. But for the amount of time I had to put to it, I think it's fine. I really like how I was able to represent the hands of the characters, especially the older character. Again, I think I did this way too high, and hands should have been a bit bigger, but I think I was able to replicate them pretty well. The amount of tangents here is crazy, and I tried to get rid of some of them, but that takes away from some of the style, so I don't know if I did good or bad with that. That being said, my friends ranked this fairly low. This one's ranked 31, while I put it at 5. Same bias of the amount of things I knew I had to draw and the amount of stuff I think I nailed, especially shape-wise. But again, I wanted a non-biased perspective. That's why my friends did this, so yeah, they ranked this 31. And now we move over to the final week I did this whole thing. This week I watched Asian films, starting with Neisha. This one in China was a huge success, which led to its sequel, Neisha 2, which became the highest grossing animated film of all time, and most of that was done just in China. This one, though, was ranked pretty low, and this one was just 1 week ago, okay? My friends ranked this at 32, so the previous one was ranked 31, the next one was ranked 32, so it wasn't that great of a couple of days on this ranking. But I ranked it a bit higher at number 27. Yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of this one as well. With this one, I spent way too long trying to nail the character, and I kind of failed a bit miserably. You can sort of see him there. But yeah, I spent way too long doing that I just couldn't do much more else. He has a very creepy face, I know. And the background is just, again, lazy stuff, single color, some color variation, and call it a day. So I don't blame my friends for putting that one that low. The next day, though, I watched the sequel of that film, and I grabbed that very tricky frame to try and replicate. The original ones like this is way better than what I was able to do. But if we flip back and forward, I think I did a fairly decent job. Even though stuff's a bit moved around. I could have done better with the colors from the background. I just tried keeping it darker to keep the focal point on the guy. And I love the composition of this frame. That's why I chose it. I also tried to go with more of a graphic style of fire than a realistic one. Because if we see this one is just like a very, very realistic fire. I tried going more with shapes of fire animation I've done a little bit of. But yeah, this one was ranked pretty high by my friends. This one's ranked as number 3 by them. And by me it was ranked as the 9th one. And to be honest, it's great to see something ranked at number 3 on the final week. But don't get your hopes up because we're still missing the last place and there's just this week left, so it's gonna come this week. But it's not gonna be this masterpiece because my friends ranked this as the best study I did. And that's due to the original one. This one's the original one. It's just beautiful. This film looks so good. Again, this framing was really tricky. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect recreation. But I think I did pretty well. I think you understand how the camera is positioned, how the whole room is laid out. And I think that's what made it go really high. I also think I nailed the contrast of colors and the sensation of the helmet. And the environment sensation, I think that's why my friends ranked this as number 1. I put this one at number 6, so a bit lower. Again, I'm really happy with the drawing, but I would have loved to have been able to create more of a sense of what's outside of the whole dome thing. Now we move to the one my friends ranked the lowest. This one's number 42. And if we see the original one, it's like, it's better for sure, but I don't think it's that much better. This film had a really weird look in my opinion. It's called Technitis, Edit and I. Pretty weird film as well. But yeah, we go back to mine. I have an excuse for it looking this bad. One of the things that you don't necessarily hear about the process of what goes on in the mind of an artist is that your mood also affects your work. While I was doing this one, I was really distracted by something that was going on in my personal life. Nothing bad, it's just feeling stuff that didn't turn out well at all. And yeah, that had me distracted. I want to blame that for the lackluster result in this one. This one I did like 4 days ago for me. I'm not happy at all with how it turned out. I think it was a hard drawing to try to replicate, especially considering how awful I am at drawing women. But this one was particularly tricky to me because of how masculine she looks while still looking like a woman. I get why my friends put this one that low. Maybe I could give this one another try with my mind being more clear now because, yeah, I don't think it reflects my state as an artist. It more reflected my mental and emotional state at that point. I did rank it pretty low as well. I ranked it at 36 apparently. Moving over to Boredom, Price of Death. I don't want to use the same excuse as before, but for this one I was still affected by the exact same thing. But still, I think I was able to do a pretty decent drawing. This one's from a stop motion film made by two brothers from Russia. And yeah, I tried to go with more of a realistic type, not try to replicate this plasticine feel. And again, I think I did pretty well with the drawing. I just think the colors and the finish and the rest of the thing is just not up to the rest of the thing. Once again, I want to blame my mental state, but once again, the image is pretty flat. I need to keep improving on that. It's a constant that's appearing on the third to last drawing, so it's something I really need to work on, and I promise I will. But after that one came this one, which is one of my favorites, if I'm being honest, if not my favorite overall. This film's called Waltz with Bashir, and this is the original frame. That's 3D, by the way. If you pause the film, you just can't tell, which I find really impressive. This movie was done in 2008, and if we flip back and forward, it's like the perspective is a bit distortion, but I think I did a pretty good job on this one. And again, for doing this in just an hour, I think I did a great job. I deserve a pat on the back for this one, especially coming after those two pretty awful ones. So yeah, this is definitely a style I want to keep improving on. And I think it goes well with me and my abilities, so it's something I want to keep pushing forward and see if that's the style that represents me better. This one, both my friends and I ranked at number 2, so I'm really happy about that. And the final one, the one I did today, the day I'm recording this whole thing, is this one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with it. I ended up ranking it at number 7, probably recency bias. My friends ranked it at 29, which is below the middle point. If we see the original one, it was tricky. This film's from North Korea, made in 1990, and it was really hard finding a decent quality of this film. So yeah, I think I modernized it pretty well. I like the separation between the different layers of the thing. This one I'm really proud of, because I know how long it took. I know how much I struggle with drawing characters, I think. I did a fairly decent job with the poses of the characters. If I'm being honest, I think it's one of the closest matches I've had. I did have to adapt the background again. Original image is more square. This one's wider, so I had to adapt to that. And yeah, I'm really happy with this one, even though my friends ranked it at 29 once again. And that's the final study I did. Before we go, I do want to show you a couple of things. I'm an engineer, so I made a couple of graphs. Starting with this one. This one's sort of the graph you would expect when you're making progress on something. Like to every single day just get better at stuff, right? Well, reality is it wasn't at all like that. This is the graph for the ranking. If you can see, it just goes down, goes up, and goes down again, with some spikes in the middle, like there's just noise there. This is the ranking that my friends did. And here on the right you can see mine, which basically it's more of a bell curve, but the trend's there as well. This one's another graph. Basically it's a difference between what was expected to get in the ranking, like for day number 1 to be ranked the lowest. The ones that are above the central line means they were ranked higher than they should have. The ones that are below, they mean they were ranked lower than they should have. And as you can see, a lot of the first ones are ranked way higher than they should have. A lot of the last ones are ranked way lower than they should have. Progress is not linear. That's the conclusion of this whole video. Again, even in my bias thing, you can see that there's the same sort of trend. The ones that are closer to the line, like the ones that are smaller, they mean they're closer to what they were expected. And that's what's happening in mine. There are more lines that are like shorter. Here you can see both graphs complete. And this one's my favorite graph. It just shows how biased I was throughout this whole thing. It's just the difference between what my friends rank my stuff, what I rank my stuff. If the blue part is below the horizontal line, it means I pushed it farther down the ranking. If it's above, it means I pushed it up towards the ranking. And as you can see, on the left there's stuff I pushed down, on the right there's stuff I pushed up. Even though there's some variation here and there, that's what I was doing, that's why I took myself out of the ranking. This one was a very long video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think it shows that really art isn't linear. Even if this whole ranking doesn't reflect it, I feel like I've gotten better. This one I did today, I think 1 month ago I could not have done this well. This one I did yesterday, same thing. I think I have improved as an artist, even if the ranking doesn't really reflect that. And that's a really important thing for us artists, to just keep motivating ourselves. If I did this a month ago, I could not have done it this well. And that's a reality for me right now. Starting Well, today when you watch this video, hopefully if I'm able to edit it on time, I want to start studying shading. And for that I'm gonna use German expressionism films and films that have a lot of high contrasting lights, because I think that's the best way to study something. Go to the extremes and work from that, and then start going to something that's more common. Probably this video has like 0 views, but still, it was really fun making it. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, I don't know why you would be, but I appreciate it a lot. It means a lot to me. Once again, if you're struggling as an artist, don't be so harsh on yourself. Look back at your stuff. I'm pretty sure that you have improved. See ya!